Okay, Saturday the 6th of July 2024. So accept and adapt. So this is something I slowly started to realise over the past few weeks, months, years or so. There's lots of things in life that we can't change, or it'll be colossally difficult to change. The odds are against you. So there's a lot of things in life we just have to accept as a fact, accept as it is, accept gravity, accept water's wet, accept 24 hours in a day, accept the weather, accept the culture, accept the language. The path of least resistance is just accept this. Accept that people speak English in England. Accept that in England we drive on the left-hand side of the road. Accept it. Accept, because otherwise it's colossally difficult to change, to adjust. It's possible by all means, but it's very, very difficult. So it's one of those things in life you have to accept. Accept plants are green. Accept that cars are heavy. Accept that we need to eat. Accept all sorts of priceless things and numerous things. Accept human nature, and then adapt. The path of least resistance says accept these things as fact, and then adapt. Adapt meaning adjust your strategy, change your mental model, change the model you're using, change the scientific approach you have towards something, change how you deal with things, or deal with this or that, or adapt to the world as it is, not as you want it to be, not as it ought to be in your idealistic mind, imposing a moralistic or imposing an emotional angle on something, but accepting it as it is, facing reality head on, and then adapting, doing new things, strategizing. I did a video a few months ago, two I think in fact, explore, experiment, experience, taking in new information, taking in new ideas, concepts, things, places, ideas, you name it, and changing and learning and growing and becoming a better, wiser, faster, smarter person because of it. So by accepting and adapting in life, we understand more. We can be better suited for the world. We can predict the future better, basically, because we understand more about how the world is. We understand the science, the maths, the logic, the climate, the culture, the people, everything, you name it, and we can predict the future easier because we know what's going to happen. We understand the psychology, how people behave. If people see this, if this happens, we understand the balance of probabilities says that's going to happen. This will happen. That won't happen. This might happen if. That won't happen unless, and you name it. So we have to accept reality, accept things as they are, accept that, some things are cheap, some things are expensive, accept that there's, matter, and we can't just walk through a wall. We have to climb over it or go underneath it and adapt. We can't go through this wall, so we have to go around. There's a gate there. Accept and adapt. Accept reality, accept human nature. And the more you understand about human nature and about the world, about people, about science, about nature, literally nature, about the rules, about psychology and praxeology and whatever else, the more you can adapt to. And by adapting, you can bend, you can adjust yourself to reality better. You can adjust yourself to how the world is better, and then you're facing reality as it is. Again, not as it ought to be or as how you want it to be or ideally, none of that, no. Because that itself is a very narcissistic, solipsistic way of looking at the world where, if only everyone did things like how I do it, if only like me. It doesn't work that way. Too narcissistic. That approach to life and to the world is too narcissistic, and you get taken down a notch. It's that crab bucket analogy. The crab trying to get out the bucket, and you being too narcissistic, the world revolving around you, people will knock that down. Society, the market, things will knock that down back to reality. There's a great quote by Ayn Rand which says that you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. You can ignore that big bus coming straight towards you, yes, but you can't ignore the pain, the sheer mass, the weight, the gravitational force of that thing hitting you at 30, 40 miles per hour, and the consequences thereof, in a sense of broken arms, broken legs, you name it, injury, pain, whatever else. That, you can't ignore that. And by understanding and accepting that the bus is on its way, you're standing on the road, on the balance of probability, what's going to happen? Well, it's going to hit you. Oh, hello, 20 pence. Oh, I'll take that. You have to accept it. You have to accept what's going to happen and adapt to it, i.e. get off the road. Simple analogy. Adapt your strategy, adapt your technique to what you see happening in the world, in reality. Again, as it is. Not as you want it to be, not as it ought to be. Again, that's too emotional. That's too narcissistic approach to life. I did a video about this as well, that the world is complex, don't be so narcissistic. That was months ago. So yes, we have to adapt. We have to accept human nature in the dating scene. We have to accept people behave like this, people behave like that. We have to accept that if this happens, that might happen, or this might happen, but that won't happen. We have to adapt, meaning we have to adjust our strategy, adjust our expectations, adjust our technique, adjust our mental model, how we're approaching the scenario, how we're approaching this situation, and change. We have to adapt to how the world is. And again, the more we can adapt, the better we can adapt to things, the better we can, the more clearer our mental model is of how things are, of reality, and the better we can survive and thrive and whatever else. We understand markets and science and logic. We understand if the market tends to do this, or the market is doing this according to technical analysis, then the chances are this would happen. We're adapting to it. We're not being delusional. Not being delusional in our approach to business, approach to life, approach to nature, approach to nutrition, you name it. Approach to health, wealth, love and happiness. Accept. There's a lot of axioms. It will be worthwhile actually asking ChatGPT about certain axioms of life and then adapting to them. Taking them on. Taking on the full, brutal, ugly face of reality and just accepting it, just going for it. Accept and adapt. Extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. But otherwise, you will see me tomorrow.